Nexlife is going to lose that expansion there, and bringing his army in here is Nexlife. He's going to try and pick off DTs, but not before they do a substantial amount of damage. This could be exactly what Huk needed to kind of even the playing field here, as the economy of Nexlife was actually hugely ahead for quite some time. So this could be exactly what Huk needed, and that DT is going to go down here, but not before doing some damage. And also the third DT here over in the fourth base is able to pick that off. It looks like a pretty substantial army though building up for Nexlife here. I don't know what if Huk's going to be able to prevent this army here. He really doesn't have too much to speak of. These infestors do have a lot of energy, so you are going to see some good fungal growths here. Huk does have quite a few photon cannons here, but looks like this interesting makeup here. Hydra, Ling, and Infestor army. Nexlife here, he's going to be throwing down some force fields and some fungal growths getting off there for Nexlife. He's going to be bringing the Hydras in with great force fields by Huk, and he is going to be able to split this army in half again, and looks like these force fields just doing a lot of damage. It looks like, I don't know if there's an overseer in this army here, and these DTs are just going to be tearing these Hydras apart. They can just absolutely destroy, if not one-shot Hydralisk. And it looks like, oh, and Nexlife did lose a lot of units there to Huk's small little army there, so not a good turnout for Nexlife, unfortunately, due to the DTs there. I think the Overseer actually went down for him there, and then the DTs were able to just rip apart those Hydralisks. Not a good interaction at all, bad exchange for Nexlife. And so even though he did have a good lead, it is getting chipped away one interaction after another. And look at that. Look how much damage DT does to one of these Hydralisks. Two shots and it goes down. It looks like the Zergling's a little bit out of place right there. And he's going to be lose those if he's not careful. Looks like he might try and get some fungal growths off on the mineral line here. We'll see. And a Colossus out on the field. This is a unit that Huk desperately needs as well to kind of continue to soften up this army. This is not a very powerful in terms of armor army, so the Colossus is going to be doing a substantial amount of damage. These Hydralisks, they just melt with 1 to 2 shots of the Colossus, and it looks like continuing to produce Colossus is Huk. He is still on 2.5 bases or so right here. It looks like he actually does still have decent saturation on in his main, so he is on 3 bases, and 3 bases for the Zerg player as well. As a Zerg player, you really can't win a game if you're on the same amount of bases as a Protoss player for too long. But these interactions, the makeup of Huk's army is just is just not something Nexlife's been able to handle so far with his unit composition. So this Colossus, looks like Nexlife really hasn't had an answer for him, but he does have 5 Corruptors on the way, so he's going to be some Corruptors, and that could be the unit that he needs to kind of even out this unit composition battle. So looks like here the Corruptors they are going to be coming into the center of play here, and it looks like Nexlife might try and be aggressive again, and he has continued aggression onto this third. And as you can see, Huk still hasn't gotten a huge Protoss death ball that can be very scary for a Zerg player. But he is actually building up, and he has a nice little area right here, this choke, that he can kind of deter the Zerg player there. This is actually a pretty hard spot for the Zerg player to engage. Out in the middle here, it does spread out more, and especially in this area, it's very wide, but this is a very narrow choke point, so with some good force field placement like we've seen, the Protoss player has been able to kind of defend himself so far. Look at these spine crawlers going up for and we also do have a greater spire on the way. These Broodlords could turn the tides for Nexlife. This is what he needs. And he does have a surprisingly large number of spine crawlers, 10 to be exact, going up. I wonder if he's going to try and push them out across the map, or if he's just trying to use up some not-needed minerals or something to keep his mineral count low. But 10 spine crawlers are on the way, and it looks like Huk is going to be grabbing the 4th as well as Zealot Charge. And it looks like continuing to pump up this army here. This could be a very big interaction we're going to see, and I think the winner of this next battle will probably be the one who's able to take the game. 5 Broodlords on the way though for Nexlife, and this could be a this could turn the tides for this game. He's continuing to bring in this Overseer, and looks like he's going to try and do some contaminates if possible, but not quite enough energy on the Overseer, so he's just going to get a good scout off. And Templar Archives are on the way. We do have Psionic Storm on the way as well, and looks like some Psi Storms could actually do some serious damage to the Broodlords as well. So both players, one player just kind of there's a made of mind game thinking going on. One player goes one build and the other player gets another unit just to counter that. So back and forth is just the caliber of the play we're seeing here. Look at this Protoss army out in just about every different, all sorts of different units here. Continue to produce Broodlords here, and as we can see, he's up to 7 now, and he does have 2 more on the way. So pretty substantial amount of Broodlords here for Nexlife. And as you can see, though, this Protoss Death Ball is getting bigger and bigger, and with these high Templars mixed in, it could be a very scary army for the Zerg player to deal with. Looks like Nexlife does have the 4th fully saturated here, and it looks like some Zerglings trying to sneak in, and 2 cannons here, though, from Huk. He does have pretty good awareness, and he has been able to kind of quell the harassment here. But the Zerglings actually surprisingly do a significant amount of damage through this mineral line, and it looks like quite a few probes go down. So a pretty good exchange there for the Nexlife, as he is able to pick some probes off. And it looks like we have shields level 1 and defense level 2 researching for Huk, and Nexlife is going to be getting even more Broodlords. He's getting a ton of Broodlords, and he's just continuing to produce more of them. And I don't know that we have any upgrades, though. I'm surprised he hasn't evolved the upgrades there for the Broodlords, as they are just sitting on no upgrades. And here comes this Protoss Death Ball. It looks like all these spine crawlers are going to be continuing to be produced, and it looks like he might actually be doing that. I wonder if he's going to be, he's actually going to be doing that so that 14, he is going to be, as you can see, that what that is, it cuts into the supply there, but he's actually not even maxed out, so the supply is actually substantially higher for Huk. And as you can see, the Zerg player, what Zerg can do as a kind of a trick is kind of produce a bunch of spine crawlers and then cancel them, so that they can get that supply over 200. But looks like these Broodlords are going to be caught out of position a little bit. Look at these Sonic Storms going down, and Nexlife's army needs to come over and defend this. But he really has exclusively Broodlords at this point. He does have some Hydralisks on the way, and he's got 10 more Corruptors coming out. Looks like these Stalkers are going to be blinking onto the high ground to try and do this, and these Broodlords are just getting destroyed right now. I don't know if Nexlife's going to be able to hold this off. These Spine Crawlers are going to be finishing. That is a ton of Spine Crawlers, which is a very interesting maneuver. And it looks like Nexlife might actually be able to hold off this push from the Zerg player, the Protoss player. But these Broodlords, he just lost almost all of his Broodlords, and there is a DT in there cleaning up the mess. And looks like some Archons being warped in as well. So a very costly interaction for Nexlife. He just lost a ton of Broodlords, but looks like Huk is going to be substantially ahead after that engagement. More Colossus and Archon coming out for Nexlife, and there is the GG from Nexlife. And I actually had to pause that cast briefly there as delivery was at the door. Buffalo Chicken Calzone, can't beat that, so did have to take a quick pause there. But an interesting game played for both these players. It looks like Nexlife was just unable to weaken the defense that Huk had at his bases here in terms of photon cannons, and he just able to maneuver his army very well between the bases right here. As you can see, it's a very short distance between all these bases, and just being able to defend that and not allowing Nexlife to do any kind of harassment really, and by just having great unit composition and doing some damage with those Dark Templars, Huk was just able to play a very solid game. As I said, he is one of the best Zerg Protoss players out there right now, and he even researching gravitic drive, so who knows what that is. No, but a lot of players, you don't see that very often. So Protoss players can definitely learn from Huk. He's definitely a top tier Protoss player and one of the best players out there in terms of Protoss right now. So very well played all around. As you can see, his whole composition here is just well put together. Every little thing just adding up to a well played game. And that's not to say anything about Nexlife either. Nexlife is also a great player, but Huk just able to kind of get the edge with the DTs that he needed and able to take down the game. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this game. We'll have more casts coming out soon, so don't forget to stay tuned. Give me a comment below if you have any feedback, and don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the cast. Sounds great, guys. I will see you guys next time. Maintaining, signing out.